Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Hope everyone's having a great day. And we have major breaking news out of Hong Kong today, and a complete blindside, a slap in the face, whatever you want to call it. You are looking at final blogger photos for the Spider-Man black and gold suit. Yes, that is true. If you go back and watch my Monday video, I talked about what we could see in the forms of announcements and the forms of releases this week. And to say the least, this figure was not on that list nor on my radar. But before we get into all that and what this potentially means, I could ask if you drop down, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the little bell for notifications. I try to upload almost every day. I know I haven't been in the last week or two because I've been really busy with work, but we're going to get back on that schedule. And just consider subscribing if you enjoy Hot Toys 1/6 scale news, reviews, things like that, as I am posting and try to break news as much as possible. So, with that being said, yes, these are final blogger photos for Spider-Man Black and Gold. We have the official release from out of Hong Kong. The boxes have been seen on the street. Yes, this is official. This is not a hoax, a ruse, anything like that. Typically, when we get a figure released, we look at 12 to 14 to sometimes 18-month lead time. This is like a 3-month lead time, 2-month lead time. I believe this figure was released back somewhere in July. I think around that time. It was right before the first trailer. And then they updated. Remember, the very first iteration of this figure had the black and red gloves. And then when the trailer dropped, everyone's like, well, wait a second here. He doesn't have black and red gloves. And then they went back and changed it to what we're going to see here. So this is a little crazy. Yes, I know. But we're going to take a look at some of these photos. So to me, this looks pretty much, suit-wise, looks pretty normal to what we get with the Spider-Man figures. I see a lot more bunching up of the suit in some of these photos, so I'm not sure if they've changed the suit a little bit to maybe allow it to flex to where it's not going to crease as much. I'm hoping. It's not like the Iron Spider suit, and I talk about that suit all the time because you can put that suit in one position, take a few photos, take it out of position, and it's already creased. And that's kind of upsetting. And there's no really great way to get it back uncreased other than put it in museum for a while and hope for the best. Because that's what happened to mine. But that's besides the point. So we get a look here at this magical effect. So I would kind of consider this the Doctor Strange suit. Because I have a feeling that his upgraded suit, Doctor Strange is going to cast some sort of spell or give him some sort of ability with this suit to then try to track down the, I'm going to say the Sinister Six because there's going to be another villain in there somewhere. They're not going to do 5 and be like, okay, good guys, we're cool. We're just going to do 5, even though the Sinister Six is arguably one of the biggest storylines in Spidey that has lived throughout the years since Spider-Man Annual #1. So they're going to do 6 villains. So I'm just going to say Sinister Six for the sake of argument. So it looks to me like from the trailer, he's wearing this suit when he's fighting Electro. Now, I have a feeling that this suit, like I said, is probably enchanted by Doctor Strange in a way to capture the villains and put them in some sort of holding cell like what we see Doc Ock in the trailer. So we get a couple shots here. I like this shot. That looks pretty cool. And I always like when they do this and then they blur that background like that. That looks really awesome. And this thing is like I don't know if it's webbing because it's coming out of the top of his hand. So I'm assuming this is the magical effect. But it's like it's got this webbing effect with it as well. So I would say that probably what happens is he shoots this out, it captures them, and maybe he just is able to capture them and take them back. Or maybe they get like the sling ring. Maybe it's like a teleportation type deal where it teleports him into a holding cell of some sort. But we'll see. We're only a few weeks away from we're less than a month away from the movie. So we get a couple looks here at the head sculpt. This is the same head sculpt I think we got with the upgraded suit and the homemade suit from Far From Home. So they probably, I feel like when they don't have to do a lot with the head sculpt, they got to update it. They've just got to reproduce it and then paint it. They're usually fairly quick with the figures, but this figure is insanely fast. And I'm going to get to what my theory on that here in just a second when we get through these photos. It's kind of a neat shot. I like the detail of this suit. I know that many people probably don't, but I do like the suit. The black and gold. I like these gauntlets right here. It looks really nice. I still can't believe we're getting this thing already. But this is a really cool shot. Looking down at the gauntlets. Got the smoke effect and everything. That's probably, honestly, this is, of the shots, because I've already looked at these, this is probably my favorite. There's another one coming up that I really like too, but this is a cool shot. And you notice, what do we got here? We got one side with the gauntlet and one side with not. And I think if we go back, that's kind of the theory, or that kind of is, goes for all. So you're only getting, I guess you're only getting one of these, or maybe you're getting one for each hand, but it looks like he only wears one at a time. I'm not sure why that is. Again, that would probably be answered in the film. That's a neat shot. It's a cool shot out in the snow in the mountains. That's kind of odd. That's an odd choice for a background. I don't know if that has something to do with what happens in the film, but that's kind of an odd choice for a background. The blogger photos, I'm always confused with the blogger photos. Like, does Hot Toys kind of give them a background idea of what they want, and then they go in and shoot and adjust and then send to Hot Toys for them to release, and then Hot Toys picks whatever? Because for this one, I like this, I can see, like, he's just swinging through, you know, the trees, whatever. Got the smoke effect, looks cool. More smoke effect. Those are, you know, falling down falling. There's a building in the background. I see all that graffiti. That is, I think that graffiti is from the game, if I remember right. I've shot a couple photos with Spider-Punk where that background looks familiar. I get all that, right? Even this one on the left here with the street, like, I get that. I could see that. I see that. But why choose, out of nowhere, why choose the mountains with the snow everywhere? Like, maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but that's odd that would be the choice, right? Swinging shot, and again, kind of an odd choice. And it's always also look at this, it's at night. Like, all these are all at night. But I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much into it. And of course I say that and then we get the day photos. But I like this little piece here on the front. I would say that's probably magnetic, because I doubt that there's a hole right here you're going to peg into. That's probably going to be a magnet there. And they keep giving us the mask. I'm not sure why. They even did that with the Iron Spider figure, and his mask automatically retracted from nanotech. So I don't know. I don't normally use this in any of my posing. Maybe I should. Maybe people like that. I'm not sure. Another cool shot. But you can see some of the bunching up here, and there's a little, this is more of a design on the leg, but there's some bunching here. And it looks like the suit's a little bit looser. Maybe that's a way they can get it to not crease as much. So that's all the photos that they posted. I'm going to go over here to Sideshow, and we are going to, let's go take a look at the listing for him and see if they've updated. So these are all the figures that are available for purchase right now. I got to go past page 5, I think. Yeah. Okay, here he is. Let's see if they've updated the listing. They've got it at January 2022 to March 2022. So obviously this is happening a lot faster. I seem to remember when it was first released, this being October of 2022, not January 2022. So obviously they sped up the release. Now, so there's a couple theories here, and I'm going to get into my theories. I'm going to go back to the blogger photos. So there's a couple theories I have as to why we got this so fast. One and probably the most obvious one, not the most likely, but the most obvious one, is the fact that the movie releases a month away, and the hype for this movie is on par with Endgame and Infinity War, and I would almost go as far to say that it is more hyped than Endgame was. Endgame had so much hype around it. But this one, to me, has more hype than I think a movie I've ever been excited about or seen come out. The Dark Knight series was another one that had, after Batman Begins, and then Dark Knight came out. The hype that surrounded Dark Knight when it came out and we saw Ledger's Joker, it bumped that movie. Then Dark Knight Rises, the hype was big. Infinity War, we were culminating to that. And then, of course, it gets released. The hype goes crazy. And then Endgame, obviously, trying to finish up that story. But nothing quite like this. I mean, to me, this is absolutely bonkers. To probably to use the best term, is just bonkers. So the obvious theory is, hey, they want to try to capitalize on this hype as much as possible. So they decided to move him up in the production and try to get him shipped out. Now, the argument there is, okay, well, if Endgame was hyped so much, why didn't we get Endgame figures until, like this, right? We didn't start getting Endgame figures until 2020. End of 2020, I think, was when the first one started to trickle their way out of there. Nebula was one of the first ones, if I remember right. The Mark 85 has been up there forever. So a Rocket was released fairly early, and Rocket's an easy figure to remake. They just basically remade the suit. They've got all the parts for that already. So the probably more likely theory that I feel, and this is one that's scary a little bit for collectors, is that the pre-order numbers for this figure were so low that what Hot Toys did was the number that Hot Toys produces for each figure is a mystery. Like, really, the only people that know that are the people that work at the company. That does not get released. It does not get leaked. It's never, my knowledge, has never been leaked out. So, let's say, for instance, if Hot Toys decides to make 5,000 figures, like their initial run, they're saying, okay, we're going to make 5,000 of these black and gold suits. Okay. So then they release the figure, they produce a prototype, they release it for announcement, and then they say, okay, we're going to make it, it's going to release in 18 to 20 months or whatever it is. It's 12 to 18 months. That's usually our time frame. So in that amount of time, they start to see the pre-orders come in, right? So Sideshow, and this is my theory on this, Sideshow has a window to release, to get pre-orders and say, okay, Sideshow's going to pull in 1,000 figures of this 5,000. All right. So Sideshow's gotten, in the last, in the first, say 3 months, 2 months, whatever it may be, Sideshow says, okay, we got 800 pre-orders in this 3 months. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to order 1,000 figures. We're going to have 200 left on reserve. So when they sell out, they sell out, right? So Sideshow orders 1,000, and then you've got, Toys Wonderland orders some. The Hong Kong resellers order some. Now, here in the U.S., you have sites like 16 Outfitters, Neo Geeks, etc. They don't go to Hot Toys. They go to Sideshow. So they're part of that pre-order process with Sideshow. So like you say, Neo Geeks or 16 Kid or whatever it may be says, hey, I want 50 figures, right? So they do the same thing. They put it up on their website for pre-order, and they see, okay, boom, 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 we've gotten 30 pre-orders in the last, first 24 hours or 48 hours or week or whatever it may be. And then they say, okay, they let Sideshow know, hey, I want 50 pre-orders. So Sideshow puts that in with their 800 or their 1,000 run, whatever it might be. So what you have is you have Hot Toys checking that, okay? Now, after, say, 2 to 3 months, I'm sure they can scale that. You know, they're going to trend that. So, okay, well, in our first month, we got 1,000 pre-orders in the first month for this figure. Now we know month 2 is going to start to tail off from that point forward as people, I'll just wait till it comes out, or, it's a nice figure, but I really don't want to spend the money, or I'll wait till the movie, or, if the movie comes out later like this one did, or sometimes the movie comes out at the same time, or the figure comes out after the movie. And then they go, well, I'll wait. They've announced another Spider-Man figure. I'll get that one instead. So that all comes into account, right? So what happens is it trends up, and then it starts to knock down each month as the pre-orders don't come in, because either the people that have wanted to pre-order have pre-ordered it, or the people that are on the fence about it, they've either decided, no, I'm not going to because of XYZ, or yeah, let's go ahead and put it on pre-order. So Sideshow sees that. Hot Toys sees that. Sideshow might keep their numbers of 1,000, knowing that they've gotten 700, 500, 600, whatever pre-orders, and then Hot Toys sees, oh well, we've got 5,000 figures on the books, but we've only sold out to pre-orders 2,000 figures, so we're gonna have 3,000 figures sitting here. I'm just throwing numbers out. These aren't official numbers. I'm just throwing numbers out there. So then Hot Toys goes, well, we don't need to be sitting on all these figures. Let's lower our production run, right? So based on those pre-order numbers, they lower that production run. Or Sideshow comes back and says, hey, I know I pre-ordered 1,000 figures, but I've only got pre-orders for 400 people have pre-ordered this. And I don't see, our trends are showing that we may get another 100 pre-orders. And I don't want to be stuck with 500 figures. So I'm going to drop my figures down to 700. So they drop some of theirs off, right? So this is kind of the game that gets played in this time period. So then Hot Toys gets their final run numbers, and they say, okay, this is the amount of figures we need to make. Okay, because they don't, or they ship, because they'll make their figures, and then they'll take their bunch and push them to their Hong Kong stores. So I have a feeling that's what happened with this figure. We've gotten 2 different Spider-Man suits, right? Or just one? Just one. We've got the integrated suit, and we've gotten this one, right? Or am I missing one? No, that's all we've got. We've got the integrated suit. We've got this one. There's still potential they do another Iron Spider suit. There's still potential they do a upgraded suit, because we see at the beginning. I think that one's probably on. I'd say that one's probably going to get nixed now, as the upgraded suit is still available on a lot of sites. So I have a feeling that one's probably going to get kiboshed. And then, of course, there's still potential for Doctor Strange. There's still potential for the villains, So, and then, of course, if Toby and Andrew are in the film, there's potential they could re-release those. So I have a feeling that this had a low pre-order number. And then, in turn, everyone started canceling a lot of their pre-order numbers. And then Hot Toys is like, well, we have all the parts. All we need to do is make the actual suit. So they need to remake the suit, right? And then the effects. And this head sculpt. And that's it. Because the regular head sculpt is the same, which they probably have a whole bunch of those on hand, knowing that they're going to continue to push out Tom Holland Spider-Man until he's done with the franchise. So they've probably produced a few extra Tom Holland heads, and then of course knowing that this was down the line, knowing that they wouldn't redo the head for the next run of batch of figures, they might have made extra when they did the upgraded suit or the homemade suit. We don't know that. So more of a mystery on how they do a lot of these things. So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind here. So the scary part of this is if this is a low production run, that this figure is probably going to go pretty quick because most of the pre-orders have already been, are taken. And that means for people that haven't pre-ordered yet, there's a potential you could miss out on this figure. Now, you may say, you know what? I don't really like this suit. And that's fine. You don't have to. But if you're like, I kind of wanted to wait to see what it looked like in the film, etc., you might want to think about putting in your pre-order now while it's still available. Now, the good thing about this one is you can hit pre-order and you don't have to put a non-refundable deposit down on Sideshow. So you can go to Sideshow, get on pre-order, know that you're going to have to pay the full $270 or whatever potentially fairly soon, but you don't have to put down a non-refundable. So all of a sudden, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to pass, and you can cancel it, you're not out any money. So that's kind of a good, that's a nice thing to have, to know. But for the aftermarket potential, this figure is probably going to go, right now, which I think 270 is a little bit high for a Spider-Man figure. I think he should be around 250. This figure aftermarket, I would say right now, is probably, I'd say 350 to 400 on the aftermarket. Like if Tim Cent, or what is it? I forget what his eBay's called now. I can't remember. Besides the point. But the eBay resellers, the Hong Kong eBay resellers, this thing's going to be $400. I'm telling you right now. Because it's low production, and they're going to recoup their money. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you really want to pay $400 for this suit, and you're fine with that, waiting, then that's your prerogative, and that's what you want to do. But if it was me, I'd jump on it. I pre-ordered this day one. So, I was shocked to see this morning when I woke up and checked the Instagram that this was coming out. I was like, actually, I just like sat there for a second, laying in bed, looking at it like, is this real? Or are they just updating the photos? Like at first I thought it was just a photo update, but it's not. It's actual blogger photos. And I've already seen the photos of them sitting in the street. Actually, if we go over to the subreddit, and we'll come over here to the Hot Toys subreddit. Someone did a custom on that. Looks really cool. Here's some more blogger photos. This one looks really nice. There's another one. We've seen that one. So this has to be some sort of webbing effect, I guess. Actually has webbing, I should say. But there you got one there. Looks cool. That looks nice. Etc. Here's the box. So they post an image of the box. I think the box looks really cool. It has that kind of reminds me of the quarter scale boxes for the Spider-Man figures. I don't know if they just kind of used that as design and just went with that because I don't know if maybe the other one's going to be like this, but I feel like we've seen this box before, just in a different color scheme. But here we go. So here is the actual photos of them in Hong Kong. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So you're stacked 24 boxes here. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8, 8. Yep, 24. Math is fun. So yeah, so it is official. It has officially been released in HK, which is shocking to me. So that is going to be it for this video. My suggestion is if you want this figure, jump on it now before it goes to wait list and you're going to be looking at a $400 figure. Because that's the roadmap for the black and gold Spider-Man. So with that, I appreciate everybody watching. Please Drop down, hit the subscribe button if you like hot toys and other 6-scale news, as I post almost daily. Like I said in the beginning, I have been off of that schedule for the last week just because of work being so crazy. But I'm getting back on that schedule, so you can see a lot more coming from this channel in the upcoming days and weeks, of course, as we break as much Hot Toys news as they give us. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, as that is tomorrow. And I hope everybody gets to enjoy some turkey and be with their families and potentially watch football. So with that being said, as always, I hope everyone has a good one, and we'll see you in the next video.